Hey friends, I wanted to tell you something exciting we're doing this year. We are hosting the inaugural Kölsch Cup, and we want you to take part. Every competitor will receive a sweet Kölsch Cup t-shirt, and we will be awarding one grand champion trophy, that is, to the King of Kolsch, as well as 2 runner-up medalists. All entries will receive our official scorecard, so you'll know how we judged your Kolsch, and you can learn more by going to kolschcup.com and signing up today. Here's a bonus. Top-tier members of our Patreon community get 1 free entry each into the competition, which is great because top-tier members who will be receiving January's recipe kit are getting our famous true-to-style Kolsch shipped out with a pack of the incredible Imperial Dieter. I can hardly contain my excitement, so again, go to kolschcup.com for more details and sign up today to reserve your spot.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Kolsch conditioning, choosing proper glassware, buying used kegerators, and brewing a retail recipe kit for competitions. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 215. It doesn't want to switch. There it is. Hey guys, welcome to the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and we discuss all things related to craft beer. If you have a question you would like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com. Click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. I am your host, Joshua Stubing. Today I'm joined by the Director of Operations at cmbecker.com, Mr. James Carlson down there, as well as the President and Chief Keg Washer, as it says in his little name right there on our Zoom call, Mr. Todd Burns. Gentlemen, how are y'all doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. And it's so funny, James. Well, first off, James, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Thank you. I'm 18 feet from Todd.
Yep. It's up here. I'll do the camera. Nope. Where'd he go? There he is. I can hear when you talk. I can hear it, and then it comes through my earpiece a little
half
bit later.
A second delay. I know. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
So, James, normally when we're together in the barn, I have the whole bid set up. And Todd,
right,
he's getting tired of me touching his stuff and not putting it back exactly how it goes. And so the compromise was, you go sit up in that corner, and I'll stay here at my corner. And it's going to work out. If anything,
well, we just have why do we even need a monitor over there? You've got your laptop.
Oh, I like having 2 monitors. Why do you have 2 monitors?
No. I mean, just when we do the podcast.
Oh, because one monitor is running the software. We use a software called OBS to actually manage all the elements and recording it, and then we have the other monitors for the Zoom call. That's why. Okay. But I'm running it all on one monitor right here, and we'll see if it works. It says it's recording. This says it's recording, so we're gonna have something at the end of the day. Anyway, I want to circle back. This is the first episode we've all been on, and officially talking about Kölsch Cup. James, I've been getting accused by people that we only did this so that I would have a lifetime supply of Kolsch for 2021, and they're not wrong, right? I mean,
I can absolutely confirm that is true. That's exactly why he's doing this.
That's not.
Of course. Why not?
Well, if it makes people feel better, I'm not going to have it. It's going to be all up here at the barn, which I'm super excited about the judging side of things.
No, it'll be fun, but it is funny because we just talked about this before the podcast. I was like, $20 a person. We get a lot of people. What might bring some money in for the podcast for this? And he's like, we're sending everybody a t-shirt and we're paying for the shipping. I'm like, crap, I think we're going to lose money on this. So.
Listen.
Never mind.
I've never been good at math. You know this. I've never been good at math. You know this. So
it's a cool t-shirt, though. I'm happy.
It is. And I'm actually having, so we use a local printer. Marty over there, you name it, I think it's the name of the company, here in Comanche. They do great work. They've always supplied our shirts as far as I can remember. Even the ones like the one Todd's wearing right now, I believe is you name it. The ones we've been wearing to trade shows and the ones we've been giving out.
That's right.
Yeah, the ones that we did on the homebrew con, I can't find mine. I swear, I think I left it at Todd's building. But
it's here. That was his then, not yours.
Yep.
Yeah, the large. It's right here. It's in that room. You gave it to me.
It was hanging in my closet, ironed. My wife had ironed it, and I grabbed it out of the closet yesterday because we were originally going to do this Homebrew Happy Hour episode. He doesn't like it when I call it a podcast. We were going to do it yesterday, so I pulled it out and put it on, and I was like, I couldn't move. I was like the kid in the Christmas show when he puts all the coats on. That's what I look like.
Yeah, in the Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was funny that Liz thought Todd wore a large. That she would iron it.
She didn't look at it. She's very aware that I don't wear it.
No, I have it, James. I should have brought it to the office with me. I didn't even think about that because I just came by the office this morning to get boxes because it's official. I'm moving. I say it's official. Nothing's official till cash is in hand, I've been told, with real estate. But my wife and I are, in fact, we bought a house and we sold our house in, it took 1.5 days to get it under contract. I won't go into details. That's not appropriate. That's uncouth. But I'll just say the market in Central Texas is nuts. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But I'm a beneficiary of it right now. But also a victim because I spent a lot of money on a home that my wife coerced me into. But anyway, back to Kölsch Cup, the stuff that matters on this show. I am pumped. We're going to, I know Joe was helping judge, and I believe we might reach out to Wes. Is that right, James? That he offered, or we'd be able to get him?
Possibly,
he wanted to enter it, but I told him that no pro brewers allowed.
So. No. And I need to go by there and get their Kolsch. I haven't had it since we went over there.
It's really good.
Yeah. Well,
I think I'm going to win. I put my name on the bottle instead of the number.
Yeah. If people are smart, well, see, that's why I had to reassure people on the sign up because they're like, okay, so do I just need to find the recipe for Frew and copy it? And I said, no, because the beautiful thing is that all of us judging have different tastes of what we like in a Kolsch. Like Todd, you prefer a much drier Kolsch than I do, and we're going to do a cumulative scoring. It's not just going to be suck up to Josh and what does he like the most, and that's what we're going with. Because yes, otherwise, don't even brew a Frew. Just put your label on top of their label and send me a 6-pack of Frew, and I'll give you a trophy. I mean, that's obvious. But I'm not the only one deciding it. We want this to be as legitimate as it can be, considering our credentials. So because we're not BJCP judges, we're not pretending to be, but we've brewed and consumed a crap ton of Kolsch. We know what we're looking for with the style. Todd and James specifically, y'all go over in the days before COVID, the long time ago. Y'all go twice a year.
Seems like forever ago.
Doesn't it seem like forever ago?
Yeah.
But so in James and you, well, I mean, I guess I went that one time with Todd in Cologne. Even the Kolsch there, just like the Alt in Dusseldorf, it varies.
Oh, yeah, it's all different. Yeah.
It's so different. So there is no bad Kolsch. And there are questions today about Kölsch Cup that we'll get into. But real quick, before we get into the questions, a little bit more small talk. Like I said at the top of the show, with Kölsch Cup, the entries are due on the first Friday or that first weekend of March. I think that's the 5th. All the details are at kolschcup.com. And January's recipe kit, like you heard, is the Kolsch, the true to style James recipe, the only one I ever brew with my pop, my favorite Kolsch recipe. And people, again, we'll get to this question that's about it, but people are like, well, should I just do that recipe and submit it? I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I would love that.
Yeah, you can make your own recipe.
Make your own. You can tweak James' recipe. You can substitute yes, but the recipe kit we're sending you is an incredible place to start, and especially that Dieter that from Imperial. Holy moly, that's so good! And Todd, you have my dog.
He wanted to be on the show. Look at him.
He's been a bad boy. And look how big he's been. He's been terrible.
He's terrible too.
Yeah, he is.
You'll get through it.
He's so bad. Anyway, so that is actually all the small talk that I have. So if you go to kolschcup.com, you can find more details about that, or go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and sign up today at any of the top tier levels if you want to get your free entry, or if you just want to support the show at any level. We We greatly appreciate it. So anyways, going on, I'm going to get right into the questions, guys, because Todd has a brew day going. And
disclaimer. I have to go. I'm doing a 90-minute boil because I'm doing a Belgium light. So in 11 minutes, I have to pull my headphones off and put the hops in and see if it doesn't boil over. Or see that it doesn't boil over.
I know what you meant. Exciting stuff. I was a cool story, bro. You there? And James has a busy day for Friday, so let's get going. Question number 1 came from our pal Adam P, who used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com, and Adam wrote, "I just signed up for the Patreon and your Kölsch Cup. If I am able to brew it this weekend, will that be plenty of time to get it bottled and mailed to you? I have never brewed one before, so I don't know how long you would recommend it, or recommend that I secondary it or cold condition it. Looking forward to the Patreon perks, Adam." James, you're always my go-to source on when is it drinkable, because Todd's just like, well, does it taste good? Then it's drinkable. But no, you're not that simple, Todd. I know. But James, what would you say?
You know what? Honestly, Kolsch is such a cool, easy to brew beer. If you remember, we did one in a week. We were drinking it. So the fact that there's only one hop addition, of course, as long as you can, as patient as you can be, the longer you let it lager or store cold, like I'm talking 35 degrees cold, it's going to come out clear. It's going to look really good. I just don't seem to have that kind of patience.
I'm with you, and I think Todd.
Yeah,
Todd is the most patient I know, and I'm almost.
But
I'm almost convinced he only does it so I don't drink all his beer when I'm up here, because he still hasn't kegged that Dunkel. It's still sitting there.
I
forgot about the Dunkel.
I'm doing dry January, so yeah.
Yeah, but even when you're not doing dry January, you will let beer cold condition.
Yeah, but if I keg it during dry January, then by default you're going to be the one drinking it, and I won't get any of it.
I wanted that Dunkel so bad when I got here last night, and he did. You did that cackle. You were like, I haven't kegged it yet. I was like, are you kidding me? You haven't. James, have you even have any of your Dunkel left from what you've had?
Yeah, I've got some left.
Oh gosh,
it came out a little sweeter than I wanted it to, but it's still drinkable.
Golly, I want that so bad. But anyways, back to Adam's question.
Todd's got a keg of it.
Oh, I know.
I do.
I don't want to talk about it. So yeah, I would say if you brew it the dates that we have right now for Kölsch Cup, March 5th is when we're going to start judging, and that's when they have to be in our hands. It's that Friday, and let me see here. If I'm going to assume, well, first off, you have to get it delivered to us. I've been very smart with my word choices, friends. However you get it to us is none of my business. I'm not going to tell you how you need to get it to us, because I'm not sure of shipping legality. So however it gets to us, whatever. But I will say, if you use the word mail, don't use USPS. Don't use USPS. They're terrible already in our area, and you're probably going to have issues. And I know that they don't ship alcohol.
Well, that and the tracking is useless. Absolutely useless.
That's what I was going to say. And I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that it could just be unique to our experience, because we have postal workers that are listeners of our show that have written in. This isn't a disparaging comment to you guys. It's just in our area, USPS is not enjoyable. They've lost some packages of ours, some high dollar stuff. But anyway,
several.
Yes. But anyway, however you get it to us. Ground is at what is ground at most? Because he's worried about brewing it, letting it cold condition enough, bottling it, and sending it to us. I would say 5 business days is more than enough for any any state in the continental U.S. Todd, would you agree? You and James do shipping way more than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be fine. 5 days if everything's sanitary and it was kegged or bottled correctly, that shouldn't be a problem.
And if it were me doing it, what would it probably look like for me? Because like James said, we've had grain to glass in under 7 days on a Kolsch, and that was using Dieter, I believe, on that.
It was, yeah.
So let's say you get it grain to glass or grain to keg in 10 days, or if you even give it 14 days to clarify. Pardon me. You could, I would keg it and force carb it. I would use that fantastic Blickman beer gun that I still don't get money for pushing, but I push it anyway. And I bottle from that because the forced carb is going to help you get it carbonated quicker. Then a counter pressure bottle filler type of device will help you get it bottled or canned and sent it out to us. And you should be able to turn it all around in 3 weeks from brewing at the maximum. That's what I would guesstimate, right?
Yeah. I'll give you an example. I did a lager, American Light Lager. This is 2 weeks and it's already carbonated. It fermented. I used Imperial Harvest and it fermented in 1 week. I had it 1 week conditioning cold and then I put it on gas and that's 2 weeks ago I brewed this beer.
Dude, that's nuts. That looks fantastic. How does it taste?
It tastes really good. I mean, it's an easy drinking beer. It's not real hoppy. You know, I did put some aromatic hops. I think I used Spalter on the end. Anyway,
and that was one of the ones that you're like, you do this from time to time, and I love it because of what you're able to create. That was one of those ones like, I have some of this left over, and here I'll find this in the brew room, and boom, I made a recipe. Right? That's not a recipe that's on the website.
I actually ran out of all that, so I went upstairs and bought some 2-row and some corn. Actually, believe it or not, I put some corn in it to lighten the body down, and I put some Vienna malt in it, and some Hallertau and Spalter.
What was the batch size?
It was I didn't quite get 15 gallons.
But I mean, is Todd going to have a keg of it here? Because I want to try it.
Oh, that's the rule.
Yeah,
if I have 7 gallons, he gets 5 and I get 2. So
Oh, I don't know about that.
No,
That doesn't sound fair.
But not when you pay for it, though. You paid for that. Listen.
no, I didn't pay for the electricity, and I certainly didn't pay for all that equipment that he furnishes us. So
I need to have that perspective because
we just had a conversation. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut in the middle. Are we done? We're done with this question, right?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, so I had to jump in the shower real quick earlier, and I was trying to get the boil up and everything. So I said, "Hey, I'm going to run take a shower, watch this while it's boiling in a 3-kettle system, James." And Josh is like, "Well, what do I do if it starts boiling?"
oh, no.
And I'm like, he never actually does anything when we brew. He just watches us. Like, he doesn't even know how to brew on that system. That's sad, my friend. I'm going to shame you here on the show. You've got to learn how to brew on the system. Next time we brew.
Well, that's something we'll have to remedy, won't we?
Yeah. Next time we brew, you're doing everything.
Hold on.
James and I are we're going to drink beer and watch your ass.
Hold on. Can you just repeat?
We're going to just do.
Todd, just real quick again, can you, just for the show's sake, like say some more poor things about me not doing anything on brew day?
I mean,
he's muted. He doesn't even know it. He's muted. No, keep talking. This is great. Okay. Okay. Now you're not muted.
Oh, gosh.
People listening, I'm so sorry for doing that to y'all. I'll edit that out, but I'm not gonna. Yes, wrapping up Adam's question. I wholeheartedly, one of the good things about the Kolsch, like James said, very straightforward recipe. It's one of my favorite ones, not just to consume, but to recommend to people to brew because it is so straightforward and it's rewarding.
Well, it opens people's eyes to homebrew because every time we've had people try that here at work, they're like, that's homebrew?
Exactly.
You brewed that?
Exactly.
That's so good.
And the one batch my pop and I messed up, even through that, it was like, I mean, because you can mess up any kind of style of any batch of beer.
Oh, I have.
Yeah,
Trust me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I resemble that. Exactly. So
I resemble that remark.
resemble that remark. So, and then I think we're all on consensus that I didn't see where he's from. I could have pulled up his Patreon info, I guess, but 5 days is kind of my rule of thumb if I'm shipping stuff out to people.
Yeah.
To get it to
that'll get from the East Coast to the West Coast 5 days,
right? Especially
as long as they don't use the post office, that could be 10 days.
Thank you.
Or never,
yeah, depending on if they're
from our experience.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you so much, Adam. This is a great time to remind everyone listening that if and when we take your question on a future episode, we send you a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com, courtesy of the chief keg washer over there. So thank you, Todd, for your generosity. Moving on to question number 2 came from our buddy Monty, who also used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. And Monty wrote, I'm a new listener as of last year, but believe it or not, I've caught up on all of your episodes. That's the first 50. I still, that's the only thing I don't recommend to people. I should just delete them off the internet.
No.
I know. You haven't taken a question like mine, I don't think, so I'm hoping to get that coveted Keg Connection gift card. How important is glassware when serving beer? My guess is that as long as it's glass and not plastic, then it doesn't matter. But I would like to hear your thoughts on it. Monty, if you've listened to our episodes, you probably know we are not fancy people. I pretend I drink a lot of sparkling water. I like kombucha, but I'm not like, I could not tell you that any time I've ever seen James Carlson go, oh wait, hold on, let me get that IPA glass with, the
just a pint glass is a pint glass.
And if you follow our Instagram, I drink everything, almost everything out of a Kolsch stange or however you pronounce it, or an alt beer glass. The straight, because I'm actually going more for the quantity I'm drinking. I like drinking in 7 to 9 ounce increments of a pour because that's about the right amount for me to enjoy that particular beer, especially from draft where it's not going to get too cold because it's not that big a volume. And I can drink a bunch of variety in 7 ounces in one night and not be sloshed from just drinking pint after pint of different ones. But Todd, do you have any strong opinions on the glassware you choose? I mean, I think I know the answer, but what?
Yeah.
Oh, he has the glasses.
He does.
I love glassware. I love beer glasses, all different kinds. I have like more than 100 of them. It would be safe to say, and every different style. I love to pair a glass with the style of beer it's supposed to be you're supposed to drink from. And I just enjoy it. I enjoy the glasses. I feel like if I'm drinking a Weiss beer out of a Weiss glass, that it tastes better, or an IPA out of an IPA glass, and it makes it taste better, and that's just probably all in my head. But no. I enjoy the glassware.
There is something, if you Google it, I think one of the top performing articles still is talking about the psychology of the presentation of beer, why people create a memory experience from it, and that the value behind that enhances the beer tasting, if that makes sense, right? And again, for us, a lot of the times it's just I just want to consume it. My memory is how good the beer tastes, but I get it because if we're looking around, I can't pan my camera. Todd, you said 100, right? That's all you said of glasses?
I said more than 100.
Yeah, I would say more than 200. James can back me up on that.
You can kind of see. I mean, if you look, all the cabinets back there, on the top of the cabinets, those are all different types of glasses. And I have a lot of other locations where I have glasses. So I have a lot. I got to go. I got to put my hops in my beer, and I'll let y'all yammer on about glasses, even though we're done with the question. Okay.
Basically done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say, James, you open up the drawers there or the pantry cabinet at headquarters and just grab whatever beer glass is closest.
I do. I usually, with me, I just grab whatever's clean in the cabinet, and then I'll do a quick cold rinse and then pour a beer. But it's usually, most of my glasses are just logoed pint glasses. I have a few that I've collected, but nothing like Todd. I probably have the real special, unique ones I don't even have to serve beer out of. I put it into my little curio cabinet next to the TV. So, to me, I don't take a lot of count into the type of glass and the type of beer.
Right.
Well, as long as it's in a glass.
I was going to say, I'm with you in that for the most part. I actually bought maybe a decade ago when Todd started carrying, and I don't believe we carry them anymore, the Speedaloo glassware, the real great glass. Todd's in the background like he can be heard. He's saying, great glasses, great. I know glasses. Those are good glasses. And he does a terrible Trump impression, but they are great glasses. But they have this one's for IPA, and we made it in conjunction with Dogfish Head, and then this one is a stout glass that we made in conjunction with. You
remember the Sam Adams Boston Lager glass?
Exactly.
It had the laser etching that allowed the CO2. I'm sure that probably, I don't have that sensitive of a palate. So
I was just about to go there and say, like, I'm
Yeah.
not confident that and I'm saying that now after telling everyone we're going to be great judges for the Kölsch Cup. I don't know if I'm sophisticated enough to know any better. Thankfully, on the Kölsch Cup, we're going to drink it out of authentic Kölsch glasses because we've got a gazillion of those. But I would love to hear or read in the comments or hear. We don't get enough voicemail feedback. The voicemails. Let me digress real quick. The voicemails I've been getting lately have been really inappropriate, or people from overseas trying to sell me car warranties. I'd love some
Really?
more. a lot of that. Like, we've been calling to talk about your car warranty. Like, I thought you were gonna have a question for the show. Like, what is the show? Oh no, don't worry about it. But anyway, I would love listener feedback on this as to why, because we admit we're not smart enough probably to understand the why of the glassware. There are commercial breweries, like you said, the Sam Adams ones, that explained it away, but to a certain extent, I just go, but really though? Really? Is that why? Because it's not like, well, why do you use this stout faucet with nitrogen beer? No, because we can explain the function. Like, yes, the diffuser has a literal purpose and it does this. Or even like, why is forward seal better than rear seal? There's hygienic things that we can point to. With glassware, I just haven't been exposed to it yet. Like, yes, the reason why you need to drink a wheat beer out of blah, blah, blah is because the tannins from the esters that are I just don't know it. But I would love to hear it. And if you're an expert on glassware, I'd love to have you on the show. I get questions like this all the time about glassware. And Monty's funny because, like, I've never heard you take it because I've never thought to take it because we don't put that much thought into our glassware.
Yeah, we're not that complicated.
Todd's back there going, accept me. But you're bougie. You do that. If you can, you have the means. If I had 5,000 glasses all lined up against the wall, maybe I would pick different glasses. But no, I use the same Schlussel or the same Fru glassware for everything I'm drinking, basically. So I am not a fancy man at all. I'm just a faker. But anyways.
Okay. So by the way, I would like to mention, we do not have Kolsch glasses. We have tons of alt glasses, but
you have some
almost every Kolsch glass is broken. There might be one.
Who's been breaking your Kolsch glasses? Not me. Your friends. Your degenerate.
My friends.
Your degenerate friends. I will bring some then because I have the two from Fru that we got when I was in Cologne with you.
Okay.
And then I have two more that I bought when we went to. I have a Peter's Kolsch that I bought from Peter's Kolsch, which also happens to be. If people want to win James Hart, you will find a recipe for Peter's Kolsch.
No, I love Peter's Kolsch. It's
that's my favorite.
It's so good.
It's the best Kolsch there.
Last time James and I were there, we were just staring at each other, going, "It's so good. It's so good."
Yes, it really is.
Over a pork knuckle too between you.
Yeah, well, we had a waiter. A lot of the waiters in Cologne are extremely rude. Like, they make it a point. It's like, have you ever been to that place Dick's, where the
Last Resort
bar? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like they all work at Dick's, right? And what's really funny though is if you have them as a waiter for 30 minutes or so, and you talk to them and you tell them how much you love Kolsch and how much you love Cologne and how much you hate Dusseldorf and Altair,
you might get a smile out of them.
Yeah, then they will actually they turn nice after a while. If I think they just get tired of so many tourists coming in and
people. Well, I want to clarify too, people listening. I learned from my few times over there, the dining experience is a lot longer because someone probably heard you go, get to know them for 30 minutes. How long are you there for? I remember sitting down and eating.
No, that's just having a beer.
Yeah, that was Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the dining experience though, I remember being very long in Germany, where it was like we were there for over an hour. I mean, we were drinking too and enjoying ourselves, but it was
2 hours
or 2 or 3. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. Anyways, I think Monty, wrap up your question. Moving on to question number 3, because Todd keeps checking over his shoulder like he's nervous about his brew day.
I don't want it to boil over.
Yeah. So Monty, yes, sorry. Thank you for submitting your question. Moving on. Question number 3 came from our buddy Harold L., who also used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. Harold wrote, awesome podcast, guys. I just brought home a used kegerator with accessories from a Facebook marketplace listing, and I'm at a loss for what I should do. Emphasis on should do, because I want to make this thing ready to serve my fermenting beer, but I don't want to do more than is necessary. It's a single tap tower with an old looking regulator, a single line of gas hose, and a single line of liquid hose. All of the hose appears to be clean, but would you replace the lines if it were you? What's the best way for me to test this system before I try to run my beer through it? Sorry for the long question, but I trust that Todd and James can help me out. Prost from Oklahoma, Harold. He didn't even mention my name.
Maybe we should just let Josh answer this.
No. Todd, you're the draft king.
Yeah. So, I mean, if everything's working, the best way to test it out is just put some water in a keg and dispense water out of it and see how it does. If the beer lines look clean, if you look in there and they look clean, they're probably fine. They're probably clean. Beer line's super cheap. So if you want to replace it, I would get, the recommended length is like 5 feet based on the restriction. A lot of people like to put maybe 7 feet, maybe a couple more feet, although it may pour slightly slower. It'll help you adjust for the fact that you might have your beer too carbonated, too warm, whatever. So that would be the only suggestion I would have. I would definitely hook it all up and dispense water with it and make sure the regulator works properly. Even leave it on for a day or two to make sure the regulator doesn't jump up or have any issues. Regulators that sit around for a long time sometimes can have some issues. If you need help at kegerators.com happens to be answered directly by me 90% of the time now. I took the person off of it that was answering it because I wanted to work more directly with the customers for a while and kind of see what issues might be coming up, that sort of thing. So if you email help at kegerators.com or tburns at kegerators.com, I'm more than happy to help you with a project like that.
In your experience, what is the thing that fails first? Because I know that's a broad question, but because to me, in my experience, the regulators seem almost the most reliable of a new system. Like I would go in priority. I would replace the tubing only because it's so cheap. It's so dirt cheap. And even if I test the system with the existing hose on it, I would still, maybe not the gas side because I am still really cheap, but the liquid side, it wouldn't hurt because you don't know what was run through those lines before, even if it looks clean. And microbes, if it's vinyl tubing, they can live in there, can't they, Todd? Even if it looks clean, if it's not.
I would definitely sanitize it before I used it first.
Right, but on.
If you replace the line, I don't disagree with you. A lot of those towers use different systems. Some of the older ones had a stainless steel line that comes all the way down, and then you put the hose on that towards the bottom, which actually could make it a little easier to replace a hose. If not, you really need it like one of our deluxe beer wrenches so that you can take that shank apart and replace the hose. I mean, the only problem with replacing hose on a tower is that it's not. It's easy, but it's not super easy. You got to take it apart and put it back together. Yeah.
You know what? That's a great point. I forget. And that's one of the things my dad, so his neighbor, he just sold during COVID, like mid last year, he had a huge, like you could fit 10 corny heads in a chest freezer, and he had 6 Ford Seal. I think he was using the Perlet 525s, but he had gotten it from a Craigslist buy like years before, and he sold it. And we were talking about it, and he says, "Oh, I just replaced my hose pretty much, every other month because it was so easy." And my dad was telling him like, "Yeah, my dad's been better about getting our lines clean just because of the tower. It's not difficult. It's just not enjoyable, and it's tedious because, like you said, James, you have to, or like you said, Todd, pardon me, you have to open it up and get in there. It's just a tight fitting thing to where with the teaser, like yours, which is behind me, you open it up and you're right. I mean, you have a huge workspace that you could just unscrew it, take it off, the shank, take the tubing off, replace it, and you're good to go. In a tower, it's a little more surgical, maybe is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, once you get the lines on it, or if you're going to keep those lines, just make sure you use clean your lines every couple of weeks, keep them nice and clean, and you won't have to replace it in the future, at least for a very long time.
And like Todd said, I mean, everybody tries to make their buck stretch. I'm the king of that. I promise you. You might not have to do a whole lot of cost spending things. I would say, he didn't mention what kind of faucet it was, and I'm not trying to push him into an upgrade as much as really make sure that that faucet's running, it's not leaking, and it's clean and sanitized. Because again, if it was used, you don't know what was run through it. Bacteria on rear sealed faucets, it can live in there and it can get grody, and you don't really know until your beer's like, what is that?
Well, yeah, I mean, take it all apart before you use it and clean it, and get some brew clean or some other line cleaner and scrub everything. And
your video with the Cat Connection beer line cleaning kit would be a great video for them to watch, mainly because you go over all that. And that would be, if you don't have a beer line cleaning kit, their normal price is $24.95, and sometimes they go on sale frequently. But that would be definitely something I'd say is worth having, just because you can use that to clean your lines, and the video is worth watching because of the whole process Todd shows you.
And we make one specifically for for ball lock kegs too. That I think it's a little bit cheaper and it's got a little bit different parts in it. So that one would work really well as well.
And if
you've got a keg though, you can always use a keg to actually put the solution through.
Absolutely. And obviously plugging for James, if that system doesn't have Becker distillants, you're gonna want those.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it probably does if it's older, because that's what almost everybody used. So
in that, it is nuts. First off, thank you, Harold, so much for submitting the question.
Yes.
Now I'm going to digress. Isn't it nuts how people will call y'all or write in about that they've been using Becker distillants for 20 years or whatever like that? Like they've been, I forget how long. I mean, in the U.S., it's over. I think it's right at 40 years now. It might be 38.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And then in Europe,
it's closer to 40.
It is I think it is 40. It was like 36 when you started. How many years have you been with Becker, James? 5?
This year will be 6.
This year will be 6. So yeah, it's like, it's coming. It's getting up there in their U.S. presence. I just think it's cool just because it's just been around that long. So when people are like, I had no idea that my distillants were from you guys, and Todd will always be like, yeah, most of the time they are. Just if it's an older system before those Chinese imitations started flooding. But that's a whole different podcast. Anyway, Harold, thank you so much for submitting your question. I know this is kind of a quick show, but we do have one more, and then Todd will let you go so you can finish your brew day, and I can publish this because it's a day late. So our last question came from our buddy William, who also used the submission form at Homebrew Happy Hour and .com, and William wrote, Joshua, I hope you are doing well. Thank you for all the great content you put out every week. It has helped me so much. I am registered for your Kölsch Cup, a.k.a. everyone send Joshua his favorite beer, and there is nothing suspicious about this at all. Sorry, I had to give you a hard time. I do have a question that is related to the Kölsch Cup, though, and that is, how different can a Kolsch really be? I've never had one, and I've never made one, so I don't know if what I submit will hold up to your standards. If I'm brewing the recipe from Homebrew Supply, will I be submitting the same beer as anyone else brewing that same recipe? What I'm really asking is, will there be a 10-way tie for first if enough people are brewing the same recipe? I hope this question made sense. Will. It is a great question, and I've seen it before in my inbox, and I've seen it on Reddit recently, where people are asking, I want to get into competitions, but I only brew the kits that I buy from, their favorite retailer, which is obviously homebrewsupply.com every time. I don't do competitions much, but I'm going to go on a limb and say completely original recipes are probably not as common as people think they are. Y'all know what I mean? Like, everyone's probably starting with a base of some sort, right?
Oh yeah, and you could 10 different people could brew a recipe and it'll taste slightly different. It's always it depends on what you brew it on and how you brew it and what temperature. I mean, there's so many variables. You're going to always get some difference unless you have it dialed in and you brew it over and over and over on the same system.
James,
and if you go into the BJCP guideline under Kolsch, it's pretty broad considering the style. Starting gravity 1042 to 1048, and then they've got down here 10006 to 1010, and I think my recipe's 1013, so it's got a little more body than this. Alcohol 3.8 to 4.2 or 4.8 to 5.3 by volume, which is the way we measure it, and then I've used 22 all the way up to 30. So you've got a lot of different ways that you can according to this, that you can create your recipe. but it's all good.
I was just saying, well, that, and we, in specific regards to Kölsch Cup, this is a fun endeavor for everyone. Don't stress about, and we're going to send you back a scorecard and let you know our feelings. And someone was writing in, are you going to be able to be mean if you need to? And I said, I'm really not worried about having to be mean because we have so much fun with our community.
Yeah,
and
that's what it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
It's supposed to be fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's no place for meanness and
not judging
having fun.
Beer. And meanness, if it was like, look, when I did the Kolschweisen, even that y'all's feedback, it wasn't mean. It was all in good fun. It was like, oh, I didn't know that a Kolsch and a Hefeweizen had a baby. Good job, Josh. It's possible.
Yeah, but you clearly were way harder on yourself than anybody else.
Oh, because that's my favorite beer, and I screwed it up royally. And that might happen. The worst thing that happens on competitions is like, James, remember one beer you sent in one bottle, they try to claim it had an infection in it, and you're like,
yeah.
You were like, wait a second. There couldn't have been, because of the time I bottled it, and I said, you walked it. You didn't mail it. You delivered it.
Well, here's the thing about that is I bottled all of that, and I gave Todd I think we bottled 7 or 8, and I had to send in 2 bottles, and then I gave the rest to Todd, and he served it that weekend, and people loved it. So I don't know. We were watching them judge, and I'm not saying anything, but I don't know how they could keep track of one from the next.
I remember that
you had to rubber band the label to the bottle, and it just seemed to me like when we were actually watching them judge with our eyes, because we did the podcast that day, it looked like it would be super easy to get things mixed up. But it could have been mine could have been flawed, absolutely. But,
no, that is not a possibility. But no, it is. But let's to help William out before we wrap it up and get Todd going, because he's obviously. What are you looking at now? What are you doing over there?
I'm waiting for you to wrap it up so I can go finish brewing beer.
Anyway, James, what are some of the things most common that people could use? Let's assume we're almost at 50 entries or pushing above it by the time we finish recording. Let's hypothetically, everyone's brewing the true to style. What are some ways off the top of your head that they can make it unique, starting with your recipe kit? Like, where would they go? Would they add different? Could they mess with the grain bill? Would they maybe different hops, different yeast strain? Like, what are some ways if they were trying? Like, and obviously they can. Google is a friend. Where if people are like, oh, what if I want to make this drier? What do I do? But what are some ways?
You could go. You could do. You could try doing an authentic German step mash with it. You could also try using. But if you're doing all grain, mashing it in the beta range and then do a mash out at the alpha range on the higher end to kind of create a little complex body. Kolsch, there's a lot of different things that you can do, little things. You could even go back. I know one of our good listeners, Brandon, he's a water guru. You could get the Cologne water data and recreate that. That'd be something else.
And like you said, there is so many little things that they can do to try to separate themselves. And some people are even asking, what if I dry hop mine or whatever? Hey, do what you want. We're not. I'll go on a limb and say we might have the BJCP book there, but we're not probably going to because this is.
We're not going to. Yeah, it still at the end of the day, if it tastes good,
yes. Now,
who gives a flip whether it's in the BJCP guidelines?
Exactly, and like I said, I know maybe I'm just giving all of us too much credit. I am confident we know what a Kolsch is, and we. If someone joked and they said, don't be surprised when you open my bottle and it's a kettle sour. Yeah, we might not judge that good on the scale for a Kolsch, but
we'll still judge it.
And if we're live streaming,
another thing too is, do you think that those German brewers in Cologne that are brewing Kolsch are going by the BJCP guidelines?
I don't know, man. No, of course they're not. No, of course they're not.
Of course they're not. They'd laugh if I asked them that question.
You wouldn't even ask them.
They'd probably want me to leave immediately after.
What is this? Who is this?
Americans don't dictate the way they make their beer,
Exactly.
any more than we dictate They dictate how we make American light lager,
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. And I can't
It's just a guide.
I hope people are seeing on our faces, if you're watching the show, how excited we are about Kölsch Cup. Not just because of how the amount of entries coming in is just blowing my mind.
It's crazy.
But also,
that's way more. I expected 10. A lot less.
It's like 10. I know. Well, not everyone. So the invoices and stuff are going out soon because I wanted the inbox to collect a certain amount before I start sending them out. It's just for easier on the books, I think. But we will. I'll let y'all know who actually.
That's what he means is he's been procrastinating.
Whoa! You're not wrong. We will get those out, but also I'll let y'all know who actually pays, because there were a lot of people who signed up, and one of the questions was, hey, if you're not a top tier Patreon member, are you agreeing to pay the invoice? And a lot of them check no, and then in the explanation part said, I'm already sending you Kolsch, bro. So we'll see. And don't get me wrong, we're going to take your Kolsch. You just might not get a T-shirt if you don't pay, because that we are.
Well, that's fair enough.
Well, that's what all the money is for. And I can't stress that enough. We are not making money off this. Todd, in hindsight, if I was better at math, I would have been like, okay, maybe we do a $30 entry because the shirts are get caught in the shipping. I didn't. I got so excited and I made a price, and now it's like, oh, it's like going to be 80 cents per entry for people we ship out. But we're okay with that because this is, again, this is all about fun for us. We're going to have a blast. So
and we could be starting a tradition here.
That's the best case scenario. Scenario. So, William, thank you so much for submitting your question. Guys, I appreciate y'all's time. I am sorry that I forgot about this yesterday. I've been up here all day. I'm pouring a beer last night on Todd's porch, and he goes,
No, it was at 4:00 in the afternoon at work, and I was like, when are we doing the podcast?
Well, do we do the show today? That's what you said.
Yeah.
And I said, no, Todd, we didn't do the show today. Do you not remember? Oh, we didn't do the show today. And then,
I thought we were still doing it. That's when I asked you, I was like, when are we doing the podcast? And you're like, oh crap, I forgot.
And then but you were nice enough. You just let's do it tomorrow. So it's almost noon here, and I'm gonna hopefully have this published and edited and published and edit in big air quotes in half an hour. So people shouldn't have had to wait too long. But anyways, guys, thank y'all so much for your time. Todd, get back to brewing. James, good seeing you, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.
I got a call. We got a problem with the shipment.
Well, with all that said, thank you for doing the show. I'll talk to you guys later. And that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you would like us to discuss on a future episode, you can go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page. Or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. Like you heard at the top of the show, sign up for our inaugural Kölsch Cup and see if you can win our Grand Champion Trophy. Learn more at KölschCup.com and get a Kolsch recipe on us when you join our top tier at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thank you for listening.